Yo, yo.
What up?
Here we go.
There he is.
Yo, we got the fan Matlock in. What's going on,
It's
Matlock?
Maddie.
Not much, man. How you guys doing today?
We're good, G.
man.
We're good. But
Schlop tops and stuff.
I already gave you a fair warning how we're going to do this. So
Yes.
let's start from the top of the list, G, because we're just going to go into it. You guys good with just going into it?
I don't care. Good.
Go
So
right in, man.
talk to us about the beginning of Matlock, yo. The beginning of you getting into hip hop and listening or starting around, or were they separate?
I would say probably about like fourth grade, man. Honestly, I remember we had a report, man. We had to do something about penguins. We had to draw a picture, do an essay or something like that, and I wrote a rap. It was penguin rap, which I might put back out.
Do it.
Fourth grade style, penguins.
Yeah, had
Well,
that
I mean,
fire,
it's
fire
a-
penguin versus.
It's appropriate for today, that's for sure.
That's what I'm saying.
So you're in fourth grade. Your first introduction to hip hop is you writing a verse for that penguin essay.
Yeah, man. Seeing rap stuff on the box, video stuff like that.
Oh, I don't think we've ever heard anybody mention that on the show yet. yo.
we did.
the box.
Ah,
Somebody
That was
talks
the jam.
about
You'd stare at the box for like 2 hours waiting to play that video you want to see. You know what I mean?
yes.
You knew
Or
it was
you're-
coming,
or
but-
you're waiting to see what the top 10 was.
Exactly. Belle Biv DeVoe Poison. You're like, yes, again, let's do it.
So after that, so that's when you caught the bug, correct?
Yeah, that's when I had the bug for writing, man. That continued. I got more and more serious about it. And then probably around junior high, started being real serious, forming my own little groups, making our own little recordings, little 4-track, little drum machine joints,
So if you don't mind aging yourself, G, what year was that?
Let's see, probably around 92, something like that.
Woo!
Yeah, man.
What was I
Back in
doing
the day.
92? I can't even remember.
Dungeons and Dragons, son.
So you're recording in 92.
Yeah.
So how difficult was it to record in 92? Because, everything that you could record with now wasn't as available as it is.
Right. I mean, we weren't trying to put out professional joints by any means, but like little boom boxes, do little tricks with the mic, hook this up to that, whatever. I had like a little Radio Shack mic, that kind of thing.
Oh, nice. So you guys are doing it through Talk Boys and no, I'm just playing. So all right, we're in junior high. Let's fast forward to high school, yo. So we're talking about what early '94.
Yeah, it's something like that, man. Illmatic era. Now I'm real serious about it. In high school, we started doing mixtapes. We would mix the joints, and I'd have like a verse on the beginning of each side. And that's when we started really putting out our own stuff. I had this little hookup cassette services. I was putting out like these little colored mixtapes. We were selling them in school, and we were a hit. We got a taste for it, not only for making the art, but being, entrepreneurial, selling it ourselves. It was a crazy feeling.
So who was in that first crew, and what was that first crew's name?
Well, the original producer of Crazy Artist Type in Paradise Lost, Granite Sandstone, that was like my best friend in high school. And we would do all that, man. Originally, he was the rapper. I was the DJ, which is funny.
Wow.
It's always a
Yeah.
little backwards in the beginning.
So you were spinning at first.
Yeah, man, I was trying to do everything, man. I was even, doing a little graph here and there. I just loved hip-hop from an early age, man.
No, I feel you. I was the same way. I'm just toy as hell when it comes to graphing. But
Yeah,
I
yeah,
will
man.
throw down drunk as hell. So if you
I'm going
guys
to cross
see
you out.
a
What are you
drunk-
right? I'm going to cross you out in the streets, man.
Don't cross
Man.
me out.
Hey, that's why we got cans on us right now.
We're going to start a war.
So you caught the bug. You're in high school right now. So when did you start like really getting up where outside of, let's say, the school started taking notice?
Like 17, 18-ish, I started hitting up like the open mics and all the little shows, man. We used to hit up, what was it, the Royale? Remember that? I don't know if you guys are of age.
Yeah.
Yeah, but open mics over there, I saw Juice like just dismantling kids. I was like, I want to be like that guy. And then Tequila's was right down the street, I think, a little bit after that. And that was a hot spot too, man. I remember being in a cypher early with Ange 13 and just being starstruck. I'm like, yo, that's Ange 13.
Was she at that time? Was she rocking the portable amplifier on her belt?
No, I remember that particular night. Her and another chick came in, and they had on like these brown leathers. They just look mad smooth, yo. Yeah.
That's what the leathers are doing to you, yo.
The leathers.
That's why we got that leather belt. No.
That belt.
Yeah, Ange is dope, though. Ange been dope. And Ange 13 also, if you talk to her, she has a Biggie and a Pac story.
Ooh.
Yeah, that makes me feel a little bit better about my age, too. You know?
All right, so then let's go fast forward.
I want to talk about the open mics back then. How was it difficult to get on the open mic starting off? What did you have to get vouched?
You really had to fight for it, man. Everybody's, gimme. Almost like somebody wanted to see you. And, I rhymed everywhere I went, man. Every little cipher I could get in back in those days. And I, eventually had my rep. You wanted to get me on the mic.
Right. So you had to earn your spot.
Yeah, man.
See, I think that's something that's missing nowadays.
Yes, it is, because
earning your spot on that mic.
Because that was the age where you actually had to prove, and people would be like, "All right, you're okay," as opposed to now where
we're
it's like,
definitely in the era of wait your turn.
that
right.
and like the era of wait your turn, and like everyone.
I say we're in
gets
the era of
clap.
you're getting a trophy no matter how whack you are.
Yeah, participation trophy.
You get a participation
participation trophy, right?
You're getting a trophy once you get off
the
that
wait in
mic.
line.
So then, Matt, let's fast forward a little bit. So you started doing the open mic circuit and everything, and then what was the next big step for you?
We wanted to get our own project out. We were done with mixtapes. We were like, let's do some songs. We had a couple songs put together, and I think we strung like 10 or 11 together and put it on a tape. And then we paid a visit to Kevin Beacham, another Chicago hip-hop legend.
Good old Beacham.
He played it on the radio, and that was it for us. We thought we were superstars. We were like, oh, we're on.
We made it. We did it.
Yeah, so we had Beacham, and then Thomas at WRRG, I want to say, at Triton was playing it. We were selling them out of Gramophone, Hip House, any place that would let us sell our joints. Dr. Wax.
And much love to those
We were
places,
making
man.
money. This is where our entrepreneurial stuff, went a little bit further,
Hey, that brings about another question for me
Shoot.
to ask you then, man. So, like, for those who don't understand what it's like to actually push your product to an actual record store to sell your stuff, like, what was like that process when you were pushing your stuff to like Gramophone or Dr. Wax or Reckless, like?
Early on, the Gramophone was really nice, man. Gramophone was always supportive of everything underground hip hop. They used to have the whole section. I haven't been there in a while. I know it's all new and revamped, but it was like
There's still a section.
yeah,
the same
man.
spot,
People would come in there with even like the Sharkula tapes wrapped in the comic book.
If they work
In the parking lot after dark.
Right.
You listen to him?
I do. I've tried to listen. I try to listen to everything, man. And much love to Shark. He's coming on the show in March, I think.
Dope. I get him and I'm
Another
like,
legend.
yeah, I think I was just at the show he recorded on here. So,
So you recorded his own show and just sent us the CD.
Yeah,
dude, that's how I
with
feel.
our pictures on.
Because I used to run into that dude with with your pictures drawn on it.
Yeah.
I used to run into that dude at shows like, yo, I'm recording this show, and he'd pull out a tape deck.
Man, everybody
With
got
the
a
mic,
good
with the
Sharkula.
cord.
With the mic.
Dude, you
I'm
know
like,
he's on the blue line, right?
Yeah.
He's on the blue line with his own handmade flyer that takes up
Right.
the whole space, just like an ad.
it's great.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. I'm sorry, we're getting it off topic.
Anywho,
There's nothing more hip hop than that, man, than Sharkula. To be honest, man. That's a
Parkula.
true legend, man.
True
After
legend,
dark,
yeah.
So you it's consignment, of course, in case people don't know, right?
So what does that mean?
So consignment means they take a profit and then you
Yeah,
get.
it's just like the dope game, guys.
Exactly.
Consignment means consignment.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No, oh, you especially know.
So you
Nah,
got
but
your.
that's how it was. It was consignment. I think eventually they started paying us up front because we were flipping them. The Crazy Artist type tape was super hot, man.
Yeah.
We had a
It
big
was.
buzz with Beacham and everybody supporting it, and that was really our beginning.
Nice.
That's what's up, bro.
So you put your ish in gramophones and did a lot of people have theirs there at the same time? Because I mean that was a good year for hip hop also.
That was a great year. I think that was followed by like Typical Cats, Feel Fresh. Juice even had like a little cassette project. Excuse me, I'm still a little sick. But a lot of people,
Yeah, that was that
yeah.
Juice had that 4-track, right?
Yep.
4 tracks on
Yeah.
that tape.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was a really good year. That's when I started getting into ish. Dude, it's funny. I actually seen you in '99.
All right.
And I hated you.
You hated me.
Because I waited for this goddamn open mic for hours at this one random place. And then,
was it like Cadillac Ranch or something?
I forgot where. Maybe it was. Was it on Diversity?
No.
What was it? Now I'm trying to think, man.
Cadillac Ranch is in the burbs.
And then here comes Matlock with his curly hair, yo, because you had curly hair when I saw you.
Wow.
Wow.
That was
you
way
went
back.
Way back.
And they just gave him the mic. And I'm just like, man,
See?
F this dude, man. I've been waiting here for hours. I'm done with my 40.
I've been done. I just been swilling the bottom.
You, man, I'll give you
No,
the
it's
mic,
all
right?
love. Dude, I got another story about you, but I'm going to save it until we travel on.
Cool.
So then what? So then, like, you know, after that, or like that section of the game, you know, you're doing open mics and, you know, you're pushing your product to, you know, the different major record stores in the city.
Right.
What was the next step that you took in order to help progress your craft?
A lot of it was being involved with other people's projects. I mean, like going into 2001, a lot of people were seeking me out. And I remember Risky Business hit me up one time, Peace to Risky and the Midway Doc folks.
Yes.
He's like, yo, EC is doing a record. He wants to get you on it.
You know,
and I'm
EC's
like
doing the record. He
20-year-old
wants you on it,
kid.
right?
So I was bugging. I was completely bugging. But being on that EC record, Natural Born Illa, we were actually the first single, me and Prime and EC on the joint Torment. I was on that record. I had Paradise Lost out in 01. I was on the Mo Projects and Record Players as well, man. 01 was a great year. It was an excellent year for me.
So was 01 when you were a part of Moment?
No, that was beforehand. Let's see. When did I sign to those guys?
We're skipping over. So let's talk about you getting into Moment. How did that happen?
Well, Visual, who is Panic's little brother, he joined Family Jewels. So I would be over there all the time, and he was always pushing my product to them. Like, yo, you got to sign this guy. You got to do this and this and that and the other. And we finally did, and that went south. That was a bad deal for everybody.
So if you don't mind us asking, yo, what happened where it went south?
Well, I signed a contract with them. It was for short money because I thought it was on some real love stuff. I thought we were going to get done because I lived like a few blocks from them. Nothing ever happened. They kind of sat on it. It was hard for me to even get beats out of them. And now while this is going on, I get a call one day from EC. He's like, yo, come to the tip. He's like, I want you to write to this beat. I get there. He's like, how fast can you write? I need a verse tonight. I'm like, okay, you got it. So I'm leaving, and I'm like, by the way, who did the beat? And he's like, Kanye West. And at that point, there was no H to the Izzo. So I'm like, who is Kanye West? I had no idea. So
you were like Cognac East?
Right. But yeah, so I laid the joint, and then word got back to them, and they were very, they saw it as like, I don't know, like I did something wrong to them, which I thought that was whack, that they would want their artists to be out there, to be on big records.
So, I mean, I've heard this from a couple people that were signed to Moment and, you know, no disrespect to it, but I heard that they didn't really want their artists rhyming to anybody else's beat but theirs.
That could have been the case, but, I mean, for the money I was offered and for the time, I wasn't going to be exclusive to anyone, especially when I had a history with EC.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So that's how that whole thing took off, man.
Okay. All right. And then so, you know, so at that point, if I'm not mistaken, that's when you started to try to actually do it on your own. Am I wrong?
No, that was a couple years later, man. For like a year, I didn't do any music, and then the whole Gravel thing came together.
Right.
And Gravel actually bought me out of that contract. In comes the Moonshine era.
Word. So and big ups to Tim Stroh, by the way.
Oh, yeah, cool.
Big ups to Tim.
Cool peoples.
You know, so what was it like to be a part of Gravel?
And how did it come about?
Gravel was awesome. I knew Rusty. Rusty knew Kaz. So it was really easy for us all to have a sit down. I'm like, yo, man, we're making great music together, but I'm stuck in this contract. What's up? Not shortly after that, we, got our paperwork together, and he bought me out of that, and we started on that record, man. That probably took like 2 years. It was a long, arduous process.
Wait, two years for you to get out the contract?
No, 2 years to record an album.
Oh, okay.
So what was that process like then? Because normally, to do a project is like a 4-month max thing
Right.
these days. These days,
ideologists, we took forever to come out.
right?
With
But
our
I mean,
project.
I'm saying these days, like in 2016, like 4 months is long.
I think it's
But,
different
like,
when you're with a group too, because you got to go to
Right.
everybody's schedule.
Right, but I mean, like for this story though, like you got bought out your contract, and then you went to Gravel, and then you spent 2 years trying to produce a quality product. Like, what was that process like for you?
Like every project, man, it usually has a turning point. So things will kind of be slow and even stagnant in the beginning, but you'll hit one part. Maybe it's one song, maybe it's a line, maybe it's a hook, and then things will start coming together. For the Moonshine record, it was the single. It was Moonshine. I had actually pitched that sample to Granite earlier on in Family Jewels. I pitched it to the Moles. No one wanted it. Nobody wanted to touch it. They're like, yo, that's corny. I finally got Kaz. I'm like, dude, just loop it. Just loop it and I'll record.
And much love
So,
to
like-
Kaz, cool peoples.
Yeah, no doubt. What up, Kaz?
It was good catching up with him on the on your album release too,
Yeah, no doubt. He was in the house, man. It was good to have him there.
which was a
But so he looped that up, and he's like, okay, now I kind of see the vision of the song. And that one goes down in history. That was the biggest song for me for a long time after that, man. And a big Chicago song, if I do say so myself.
true because we played it on the station.
A few times.
Yeah.
Word, thank you.
Yeah.
Good looking.
Hold up. So
No.
we're in early 2000, correct?
No, we're in like the, let's say, 04, 05, something like that.
Before we go further, I got another story. Around 02,
Okay.
you and Rusty were doing a show at Cabrini Green.
Man, okay. Fuzzy memory.
It was, dude. I remember this, and I'm gonna tell you why I remember this. So this is when I first started, like, kind of coming out the parties. You know what I'm saying? Because before you're going to jams, you're killing mics, you're battling crews. So I started coming out the parties. It was an art gallery, which was crazy, in an apartment in Cabrini Green.
Okay, I do remember this now. The Cabrini Green show. Yes.
Yeah, you were rhyming with Rusty, dude. I tried rhyming. Rusty and Matlock just attacked me, yo. And this is when I
You
had
got grimy tats.
dude. This is when I had a
You got
flow.
cracker jack because y'all were cracking jack and beats
Before-
like mad
before-
crazy
before I
back
went-
then too.
Before I went bald, yo, I had a fro.
This
Like,
is why you went bald.
every bald person will say that I had a fro, but but I had a fro, and I remember this because they called me Buckwheat,
Oh no.
and
Oh, man.
I'm the only person standing there still trying to go like F it. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't care. You know what I'm saying?
Wow, man.
That was,
I wish we had footage of all this, man.
That was one of the first times I met you, and then I started seeing you and Rusty over at Malibu on Lincoln when they used to have those hip hop jams over there. I don't know if you remember Malibu.
Malibu. Rings a bell, man. A lot of Jack Daniels since then.
Yeah, you're right. And that's when I first met you and Rusty. I actually got a chance to talk to Rusty back then. Rusty was actually the first person to vouch for me on the open mic,
There you go.
which was dope because then I started getting on.
That's when you started getting
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
Right?
Hell yeah. Well, sorry, man. Don't take offense. That's
No,
just how
no,
we're
hey, it's
rolling,
part of
man.
the
Young
game.
gun.
So
That's part of the
So
game.
I got another question for you. So now, like you got some work out, right? Like you got a couple
Yeah.
singles out, you got a project out and stuff. Like, were you still hitting like the open mic circuit in the city to still try to like push the product you had?
We were doing shows. Those Gravel days, we had, I want to say 04. We had strung so many Family Jewels shows together. We were actually just talking about it when we were all together. We did such a slew of shows. We were out of that like open mic circuit. We thought we were a little bit above that. You know, now we got our own shows. We wanted to make our songs popular, you know?
See, thank you. I've been saying that for years, man. There's a progression, right?
Yeah.
So you cipher, then you start writing, then you lay down tracks, and then you do shows.
But you got to
that's
be
the
able to come
progression.
back into the little open mic realm too, man. You got to get them kids respect too.
Yeah.
That's true.
So then, So then I guess like my next question to you is then like, you know, what was the next step? Like what, like once that Family Jewels album came out, then what was the next thing that happened?
Well, first of all, the Gravel project, that blew up. That was the first time I had a real professionally released joint, my own solo vinyl out there. I had Moonshine on the A side, Rugged Man was on the B side. It was big for me, so I got national love, more spread around the world even more. And now I had seen it done a couple times, you know, being signed to a couple labels, seeing what everybody's doing. Now I thought I could do it by myself, and that was the next step.
Okay.
So what was the difference between doing this by yourself and being with a label?
Having to do all the business as well, man. And
Like,
eventually that's what I got burned out on. Like I did the Matlock Hates You CD. That was the first Fly Pig release. And then we turned around and did 2707. I did that. It was all my own money. I did all the business for that. Like, and it just became such a task. I found myself being less of an artist and having to deal with the business more. I really got kind of burnt out on that.
word. And I mean, is that when Fly Pig started up around?
Yeah, around 08.
So like, okay, so like around then, so like who was really involved in Fly Pig? Because
Fly Pig, I just wanted to be my company, my sole proprietor. You know what I mean? In the beginning, I had a couple artists. My man South Kid, he actually made it on the 2707 LP.
Okay.
And then later on, Swangs, of course, came into the picture.
Mood
I
Swangs,
had known
right?
Swangs for a long time.
Okay.
But yeah, man, that's pretty much it.
Well, I mean, like during that time though, I also know, like, you know, like based on my history of knowing Chicago hip hop history, that like right when Fly Pig, like right before Fly Pig is right when I started knowing you more as a battle MC as opposed to a artist, as an artist, and you know, like seeing like little video snippets and stuff like that. So like, you want to talk about that a little bit, like the other side of, besides just being an artist, but like trying to venture into another aspect of the culture?
As far as battling?
Yeah.
See, I think that's kind of flipped. I mean, people come up on different battles, different little YouTube videos at different times. But when I started, that's pretty much all I did. I was, you know, I pushed my way into Cypher. I'd go at a motherfucker. Can we curse on air?
No.
It's okay. You got
the
edited.
radio
You good.
show over here.
Yeah,
Mother
I go at
father.
people, man.
It's
I met,
mother
first time I
father.
met Pugs was
You gotta say
people
mother
battling.
father or Mickey Ficky.
Or ook.
Nicky Picky,
Or
yeah, okay.
Mucka Ucka. Or Mucklux or something.
Yeah, in the beginning, though, it was more the battles, the freestyle battles, the ciphers. Like I said, me and Pugs went at it. That was fun. We still joke about it. Profound. I mean, this is all when I was like, you know, barely had hair on my face. I did the written battles, I guess, was a little later. That might be what you're thinking of. Like
No. I'm talking about earlier. I'm
Okay.
talking about earlier, like before written battles, before the YouTube hits, before grind time, before
Well, I've
Yeah.
seen
the rap
Matlock
championships
battle
and all
a
that.
couple times.
Yeah,
honestly.
like I saw you battle before that.
Rancho
you know what I
Luna
mean?
was big for
Yeah,
battling.
exactly.
I used to battle
yeah.
at Rancho Luna.
Even then, I think that was like probably 03, 04. Maybe.
Yeah, that was like early. You know, like right when battling started getting recognition.
But let's talk about the battling when you started battling, and I want to start comparing it to kind of the now battles. I mean, are you up to speed with some of the Chicago battles, or?
As far as what, like the written ones?
Well, no, not the written ones. Just battling in Chicago, period.
Yeah, like when it was
yeah,
pure.
I mean, I check everybody out. I see what people are doing.
So let's talk about when you started battling. How? I'm gonna be mad obvious. How was it?
It was more vicious, man. Like I said, it was more fighting for room, man. You were literally elbowing your way inside to try to get your voice heard, man. It was much more ferocious. Like we said now, it's participation trophies. Everybody's waiting their turn. They'll sit through somebody that's whack and let them go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But also, was you being white an issue when you started battling or trying to get into the open mics?
Yeah, I think definitely. When I started, when it was, 97, 98, I was one of the only, vanilla pieces in the room. So,
Vanilla pieces.
I mean, that hindered me at first, and a lot of people would come at me But then
Saltines
again,
in the crowd.
we all know how 8 Mile ends.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I'm
here's
still
another question.
waiting for my check, by the way, if you're listening.
Oh. So, I mean, here's another question for you, just like from artist to artist.
Yeah.
Do you feel that when you started stepping into actually battling, I mean, because as an MC, when you first started, you know, you knew you had to do that anyway to gain recognition. But do you feel that constantly doing that kind of helped hone your craft into where it is today?
Oh, without question, man. And not only battling when we went out, but battling your homeboys when you're bored or sitting around with 40s or whatever.
Speaking of battling your homeboys with 40s,
constant
shout out to
thinking of
Swing Zone right
rhyming
now.
words, like it sticks in you. It becomes like a tick.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
if you ever look at Juice will just be chilling and burst out into like spontaneous rap. And you're like,
Yeah,
I know that
That
firsthand.
jerk.
You gotta like
Yeah,
walk
me too.
away for a
what
second.
a jerk, man.
right.
He'd be
Yeah.
like, dude, I'm drunk, man. I'm about to throw up.
Yeah,
Right.
but I mean,
You're
like,
making my head spin.
but I mean, do you feel that that kind of helped you when it came to actually writing for your next project at that time, or to actually be able to put together tracks in a different way than you had in the past?
Yeah, I think definitely with the more braggadocio stuff, you know what lines are going to hit. You see, you look at faces in the crowd, you see what lines get reactions, and you're like, oh, that's working. And that maybe can go into strong form somewhere or a line similar.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, then my next question to you then is this: that during that era, what was the one battle that you participated in that really helps you realize that you're on the right path with doing music as opposed to getting a normal 9-to-5 or collecting?
What battle?
Yeah, like what battle did you enter? Like who did you battle that really helped you realize, like, you know what, like I'm doing the right thing?
I battled Profound once. I don't even know where we were, man. It was somewhere downtown. And I remember we just went at it. I mean, if you guys know Pro, he doesn't want to say die ever.
Yeah.
And, we just both spit till we were just out of it, out of gas. And, I don't know. It was dope. It was
So
like we
it's like
proved.
it was like Rocky 4.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Did he say I will crush you right beforehand?
Yeah, like Rocky 4, man. Dolph Lundgren.
So I mean, I'm gonna be jumping through different areas because I feel like we're a little caught up right now.
Right.
So I want to talk about a lot of the earlier shows, man. Was it difficult grabbing shows? Was it a lot of politics involved?
Or was it really hard to even get venues to let you do shows in?
Back then, it was a lot more love. We weren't throwing the shows. We weren't acting as the promoters. We were just artists. And we had, like I said, the buzz with Crazy Artist Type, my first release, going into Paradise Lost, being on everyone else's project. We had a name, so people would want us to rock their shows. They depended on us to fill rooms sometimes. And I would say it was a little bit easier in those days to get shows, definitely. It's really clicky. It became real clicky around 05-ish, I want to say.
Why would you think it was clicky? Like what happened? It was just like, well, this is
I
just
think
kind
that
of the
was
inner
the
circle.
era of the birth of all these independent labels. Everybody was trying to be raucous and Stone's Throw, so on, etc. So they're having their roster at the show, their homeboys. It wasn't an all city kind of appeal to it. It was very, like I said, clicky, man.
Well, do you feel that was something that was kind of negative in that aspect, or more positive?
I think it was negative. I think it separated people. Now we have our own little subcultures and subgroups, and we're not a whole. Like when I started doing shows, and I finally had a chance to throw a big one, we did the Great Chicago Fire 1, and I wanted to bring back everyone who I thought was dope from that era. No clickiness involved. You know, I even squashed Old Beast to throw that show because I just wanted that feeling.
And that was
a hit.
That was at the Abbey, right?
No, Great Chicago
was that
Fire 1
Sub-T?
was Sub-T, man.
Was
We
it
sold it
Sub-T?
out.
So it was Sub-T.
Okay.
All of them were Sub-T.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. My fault.
Which big ups to Jory for making sure that ish happened.
Well,
and stuff
like you
that.
said, man, this is many fifths later.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
It's
but
blurry.
hey, but I mean, another question for you then is right when you started actually doing shows at venues all over the city. Like, what was the one venue that you feel really, like, after doing a set there, really kind of represented what you were trying to do and, like, really got people to, like, pay attention to what you were doing and elevate?
Like back in the day shows?
Yeah.
Or now shows. I mean,
early on, man, like Northeastern, we did a lot of those. That was a large group of people for us. Let's see what else.
they're not even doing hip hop anymore, right?
I don't think so, man. I haven't
Back to
heard about
education.
anything.
I'm sorry, I'm the one that shut it down.
Nah, probably somewhere around that time I wanted to punch Off-White in the face, but that's a different story.
Yeah, but hey, and that brings up another question too. Like, I guess like a big battle that a lot of people remember from you in the city was when you battled Killer K. Do you remember that?
Killer K. Yeah, that was in Cincinnati, way back.
Right. So like,
Was it Cincinnati or was it Scribble Jam?
It was Cincinnati. It wasn't Scribble. It was at Annie's, though. But, yeah, Killer K, man.
So can you talk about that a little bit? Like, let the listeners know, like, exactly how that whole ordeal went?
That was around 01, 02, I want to say, and I was trying to hit those little freestyle battles all over. I think we did Champaign and then Cincy on to Louisville, maybe.
Okay.
But, yeah, I went out there on the Greyhound, man, alone. And I ran through everybody. You know how those organized battles were, kind of like tournament style.
Yeah, yeah.
Killer K was somewhere in the middle. I don't even know what Killer K is doing right now. You know what I'm saying? But, yeah, I got all the way to the end, man. I felt like I got cheated out of that battle. I felt really bogus.
And why is that? Exactly.
I mean,
felt
like
just
I beat
because
the
I
dude
know
at
it,
the
like,
end, man. I was like early 20s, man. I felt like I beat this dude, and they were giving him hometown love or whatever. But all in all, it was a good battle.
right. I mean, but like, you know, when you lose a battle, you know, even though you may feel you won, you kind of learn something from that experience, right? So, like, what was it that you really picked up from that experience after that Cincy battle?
That no matter how good you are, man, nothing's a sure thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing's a sure thing.
And do you feel like that helped push you to go harder at your craft after that?
Yeah, I mean, every time you fail at something in life or you have a pitfall or a downfall or something doesn't go your way, you're either going to give up or you're going to go at it tenfold. And it was all these things, man, all these things in business, all the things with dealing with different people, not getting on here, getting, cheated out of a battle maybe. It made me want to go harder. I didn't want to quit. It added fuel, man.
Let me ask you this: What do you feel was your biggest push to be like, you know what, F the world, yo, I'm gonna go as hard as I can,
F the world,
till I'm in the basket.
I'm in this.
I don't know. Maybe doing it independently. When I set out to do Hate You and then 2707. Because I felt like there was no safety net. I had to be everything. I had to be the publicist, the art guy. I had to, get all the producers together.
That's
it
a lot
completely
of hats to
being
wear.
my work,
Word. Well, I mean, like, another thing I want to ask you is that, for those that don't understand, like, nowadays, entering a battle and losing doesn't really mean ish. You know what I mean? It's just like,
right,
okay,
nothing.
it's views,
Well,
but like back in the
you're
day,
getting a trophy.
yeah, but like back in the day, like losing a battle could end your career. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like that could like
look at Supernat and Craig G.
right,
Yeah.
exactly. So like, do you feel that
Well, look at Juice and Supernet.
like the battles that you entered, like the battles that you did throughout your career, like helped your career get to where it is right now, or do you feel like kind of
No, I think writing. I think more of the songs helped me. To tell you the God's honest truth, that's not something I wanted to take very far. I didn't want to just be a battle rapper.
Right.
I felt like the guys who just did that were pigeonholed, and they couldn't write songs. They couldn't do albums. I didn't want to be that. I wanted to be an artist. I wanted to put pieces of art out.
Yes.
All right. So then,
Yes.
So like, what?
That's the same thing I say all the time, though.
Right.
Because sometimes people do pigeonhole themselves when they just freestyle all the time and that's all they do.
Right. Like,
Right.
So,
but
They can't do anything else, and they
but there's a I
make
feel
it a
like
point to not do
Chicago's
anything
a
else.
great catalyst. I mean, if you're getting your name out there, then come out with a track.
No doubt.
You know what I'm saying?
Get
and then
known
that
in the battle
push.
scene. Boom, throw your record out.
Exactly.
It only
Just
makes sense.
Keep
You
elevating
need
and elevating
people
off
to be
there.
replaying you over and over again.
Right.
Right.
But I mean, like the one thing though I noticed about your career is that, you would do the local Chicago stuff, right? But then, like World Rap Championships actually blew up on YouTube, right? And then like all these battle leagues started blowing up, and then you jumped into a battle league with Grind Time, correct?
Yeah, I was approached to do one of those in like 2010. I don't even remember who asked me, and I always poo-pooed that idea. Because I'm from that era of freestyling, man, and like writing a battle rap, it just doesn't seem right to me, at least at that point. But my homies were like, "Yo, you could clean up. You can write for someone for 2 weeks.
Well, a lot of people are
2 months
killing
or
right
whatever."
now with writing, and your homie Rusty's killing it with those written.
Right. That's why they won't.
Yeah,
ask
he's
him back 'cause
ferocious,
they're too
man.
scared.
Well, he destroyed. Man.
He goes in there straight chopping heads, like everyone can get it. He's
Yeah.
wildly swinging a sword, and everyone's all like, you know what?
So
I
let
don't
me
know if I want
let
him
me ask
around.
you this, because we got like a lot of Battle League cats listening to the show. Would you do it for a price?
I'm never gonna say no. Definitely to anything. It depends. I might do it again.
Right, but I mean, my main question to you is when you jump back in, because I also know you had like issues with different MCs in the city, and you jump back into battling to like I know it was like more than just to prove a point, but to show that you're actually complete MC, which is something
Right.
that a lot of people don't understand. Like, do you feel that really helped? Kind of cement what you've been trying to tell people this whole time. Like, look, I'm all aspects MC as opposed to I'm just a songwriter
Right.
or
Yes.
I'm just a
Because
battle.
okay, so MC, what's his nuts comes out with a record. He's talking about he slaughters MCs. He's the battle champion, but he's not in them. That doesn't hold water.
Right.
His record's not true. We don't believe him. So yeah, definitely to solidify things I've said on record. Wanted to prove it. Get out there, take a couple heads at that point.
And you're right about that, because a lot of people do say things like that, especially nowadays, that they're the best, but never prove it.
Exactly.
But I want to ask you this too, man.
Nice.
Because like I said, we're gonna keep going back and forth with different ish, especially now that we're nice and bent in this room.
Yeah.
Bench.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
The crown is down. I'm out of schlop tops.
I want to ask
the
you,
eyes are dim.
what was one of your favorite venues in Chicago, and why?
I like
Fireside.
the Abbey. We had a good run. Excuse me, guys.
Yeah. You got to crawl before you walk on that one, bro.
Yeah. The Gravel Days Abbey Pub was ill, man. We used to pack that place. A lot of good memories there.
Lots
But
of Abbey shows. with
Sub T,
gravel.
man. Overall, that's been my home, dude. I love Sub T.
What about
Yeah.
the Fireside shows though? Because I know you did a
Oh,
bunch of shows.
Fireside was dope too.
Dude, you know what's hilarious about this? We were ideologists did 2 Fireside shows, and then Atmosphere did Fireside shows, and then a bunch of hip hop acts started doing Fireside Bowl shows.
Yeah,
Did I say
man.
that right? I feel like it's a tongue
Fireside
twister.
Bowl. No,
All
you
right,
said it
Fireside
right.
Bowl.
Yeah, you didn't mess that up.
Now let me ask you this question, because we like to ask a lot of backstage ish.
Sure.
Did you get paid for those shows?
Of course, man.
All right, because I got shysted out a lot of money on those shows.
Yeah.
Yeah, we always got paid, man. Family Jewels back in the day, we would shake people down. I won't
Ooh.
say
It's
promote
It's called
the
Family
name.
Jewels, man.
One of the best one lines that you spit on Moonshine, which resonated to me a lot, which kind of was like, yeah, that happened to me too, was getting blessed with bottles and you're not even 21.
Yeah, no doubt. Back to those old days, man. Well, like I said, we were 19 when the record came out, so people were like, yo, hitting us with bottles and this and that and the other. It was crazy.
Yeah, I related to that so much because we were getting into bars and we're not even 21 yet. And we're sitting
Right.
in VIP sections with people bringing us like beer after beer, bottle after bottle. And then we're trying to rock and I'm all flip, 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 flip.
Yep. Exactly.
So here's another question I got to ask you then. From the
Mm-hmm.
early years, I'm not talking about current, because current you've thrown some really amazing shows that had like sold out
thank you.
capacities and people talking about it for weeks on end afterwards.
Yeah.
In the early years, what was the one show that you did that afterwards, like seeing like the crowd participation, the size of the crowd, like the payout at the end, that made you realize, like, you know what, I'm actually doing the right thing for myself? Stumper.
I don't know, man. It never was a monetary thing to me, so I can't even factor in like a paycheck for a show that really made me think.
Right, but I'm not even asking about that. I'm more asking about, like, in your mind, like, oh, you know what, like, just seeing crowd reaction and participation.
Planet Mars. You guys remember Planet Mars?
Ooh, wow.
Look at
Yeah,
you.
You got our younger listeners like, huh?
Yeah,
And all
the
of us
planet?
just lean back in our chairs like, oh.
For those who don't know, the Planet Mars was a small club on Halstead, and we'd have battles there. Mars actually owned that joint. I think he owned it, didn't he?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, but Mars would throw ill shows there. I battled a couple times there. I actually battled Chaos from Ill Nature. Those are some of my better early battles.
Good. That was a good one. That was a good one too.
Much love to Chaos. But after I did a couple of those, he gave us some shows there. I think it was those shows, man, very early on to promote crazy artist type, moving the crowd. We were in control. We were names. We were established. It was like, we are here now.
Right. So I mean, along with that too, then. Because once you start getting established in your own city, that's when you start venturing out. Like, what was the best city that you rocked?
Take notes, kiddos.
That you felt like really responded the way you wanted them to what you were trying to deliver?
As far as out of town, man, we did South by Southwest with Gravel. That was a cool show.
That was early years too, right?
That was like
that was like before it became popular and all the hipsters moved in.
So you're saying it was before I went?
Right.
Yeah,
the bills of the hat got flipped up for no reason. It was crazy.
No, but South by Southwest is iffy sometimes. I mean, you could have a crowd full of people that aren't trying to hear what you're doing because there might be a dude that's kicking country music right after
fans,
you.
yeah.
Right. Well, a lot of artists too can't be entertaining out of their own cities. Like, you can't go to necessarily Albuquerque, New Mexico, and rock the crowd if they don't know who you are. I pride myself on showing my talent. Put me in a hip hop show anywhere, I'm gonna rock it. No one's gonna ever boo me.
That's how it should be.
Hello.
You know how crazy it is when you see people who are like, "Yo, they're gonna feel me," and they like think that whatever they're doing is gonna be hot, but it just doesn't work. But there's a formula and there's a method to this madness, and there's only one way to rock it, and that's dope.
I mean, but if you rock it correctly, there's been times where I've traveled out of state to do a show and sold the most albums to a small group of people.
Exactly. There you go, man.
There it is.
You know what I mean? Versus maybe you rock the hell out of a large group of people and
they're
not buying any merch.
Right. There's a common mentality in hip-hop no matter where you are around the world, man. And as long as you can tap into that, if you're in a room full of them people, you'll be good. KRS once said, it's being one with your crowd, and then you rock yourself.
Right. Yeah, but KRS-One's mad shiesty. I did a show with him in Germany.
And also, he's just shiesty.
He's still KRS-One, though.
And his nose is bigger than my... I'm just being
No, dude, this guy was...
ouch.
I had to treat him in Germany.
I just felt like I was the only one not saying anything weird, so I was like,
I treated the... where's the bell? I treated the... out of KRS in Germany. I can say that.
And proudly.
Man.
What'd you scuff his shell toes?
And proudly.
Hey, so
dude, he was being a donkey. G.
Donkey is.
I'm not saying I don't believe you.
We'll get into
but hey, here's another question for you though, because right now we're around like 2007 to 2010, like pretty much what we're talking about, right? So, but at that time as well. Locally in Chicago, there was like issues happening with you and other artists in the scene. So like, if you can like talk about that a little bit, because I know you had some beef with a couple different MCs that are also just as well established as you were, or almost coming up to that. Like, what is it like dealing with beef with other artists that are on an equal level as you to try to cement like, no, I'm better than these people?
Well, like I said early on, battling, you couldn't show fear in anybody. If it was if it was a more established artist, you just had to step your game up. I mean, a a lot of people don't know. I actually had a small beef with Cap D that never went public.
Really? Talk about
There
that.
it is.
Elaborate.
Can you elaborate on
We
that?
got time.
Yeah, I'm not gonna throw anybody under the bus because I got much love for Dave, man. We've
Just
talked
throw him under
since
the
and
car,
everything
not the
is good,
bus.
But yeah, we recorded a joint, and then something, I forget what happened, man. Something happened, and he ended up putting out a diss record where he dissed me and Eminem and like some other white rappers on it, and he thought I didn't hear it.
So he's just dissing white cats.
He did the usual suspect move.
Right. But we actually had a Northeastern show together. All Natural was headlining, and I stepped to Cap. I'm like, yo, what's up with that record? And he tried to deny it at first, man. And
Really? So he didn't
Yeah,
want to
man.
own up to it.
Was he by himself?
we were both by ourselves, man. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean,
yeah.
if you do something foul, own
Did
it,
you
G,
walk up
that's
to him
yours.
in the corner? Was he like behind him was a subwoofer and a merch table?
No, but that's mad.
Did you
long
already
ago,
have
man.
your
We're talking like 15
you already
years or
had your
something,
fist
so.
balled up?
Like
Yeah,
that
but, I mean,
Arthur meme?
For a young battle cat though, having beef with a name, that's your proving point. Look at Cool J Cannabis.
Hey man, anyone can catch it, man. Whatever.
Word.
Anyone should be able to catch it.
Cannabis is still spitting that same verse.
Yeah, the same one he
Poor
wrote
guy.
for Disaster you never spit before. Right.
Man.
Dude, and then that video came out with Pun, DMX, Mos Def, and
Yeah.
he spit that same effing verse, yo. He took a
No,
pass on
man.
the first go around, and he came back and spit the same.
Yeah, because he had to remember it, so he didn't read it off a notebook or nothing. But I mean, but you also had other issues with other MCs. Like I know, like you and Swain's kind of got into it a little bit, and then that got squashed. And I also know like you and like a few other MCs in Chicago
man.
kind of got into it. So like, can you talk a little bit about that? Like what that process is like, just because our listeners don't really understand.
I want to say this. I want to say this before
Yeah.
you start answering. People, do not be scared of beef.
Beef is good.
Beef is
There's
great
nothing wrong
grilled.
with beef. Just be equal to the person you're trying to beef with.
Man, just cook that beef right, eat it, and move on.
Right. So I mean, like,
Okay, well, everything, like I said, we're talking about is like 15 years old, so I'm not going to disrespect anybody that I'm cool with now. But
You can though.
yeah, back then, man, I had it's a small city, Chicago, especially in hip hop. There's not a lot of room for the top dog. Everybody wants to be the top dog, so it was constant competition, man, on a lot of levels.
Like, do you feel like that kind of messed up some things you were trying to do at the time, though, when those beefs popped up?
No, I don't think that the beefs really got in the way, man. If anything, it just made me sharpen myself more.
Okay, for sure. And then, along with that, do you feel that the fact that Chicago, being so small as it is, and everyone, willing to go at each other on the quickness, you know what I mean? Because, like, Chicago is known as a city where it doesn't matter who you are. Like, anybody who feels that they're better than you is going to try to
anybody
go
can
at
get tested.
you. Well, anyone can get tested.
But
Exactly.
I
But,
love that about Chicago personally, that no one's bigger than
the next person,
Than the
right?
next person.
But I mean, like, do you feel like that really helped, kind of hone what the Chicago sound was like, and like what the city can really deliver when it comes to like actual musical projects, or when it came to battling, or when it came to, just trying to be like that whole braggadocious, like I'm better than everybody else.
Yeah, it definitely develops our sound, man. Look at I've said it before in this interview alone, Juice. I think the Chicago battle sound comes from him. Cats like him and Profound, that real punchline-y, rhyme on every bar. That's definitely a Chicago battle sound to me. Yeah.
I agree.
Word. Cool.
I concur.
But like I said, there's nothing wrong with battles and beef. I think a lot of people take it, I feel like back then, and I hate saying back then, but I feel like
Because it wasn't really
Chicago
that
hip
long.
hop was just like so prominent, and there was so much skill on the table that it was inevitable. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
You're gonna have something like that, and I feel like now people are so scared of it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like nobody wants that beef, but it's the next level of competition.
Within hip hop, we're kind of like martial arts. You gotta practice, and with practicing, that means you have to walk up to people and be like, "You're pretty dope. Let's try it out."
Yeah,
right, yeah.
you don't see that.
There's
no more.
nothing wrong with that. That doesn't mean I'm like calling you out or calling you whack. That just means I'm like, oh,
I want to test myself.
I want to test myself. I want to like check out what you did. We can trade.
But
Maybe
everybody
you'll
wants,
pick up stuff.
Everybody wants to do it under the radar.
I just
You know
want the
what I'm
number
saying?
one
Right, 'cause
headband,
they don't
man.
want to mess up.
I sound like the corny old man saying this, but these young kids, they need to go look at the elements. They need to go look at Bam and Herc and
Right.
you know.
Well, I
late
mean,
70s,
like,
early 80s New York.
Yeah.
so I mean, like bringing like all this kind of stuff up because I know like in the mid to late thousands is when you kind of had to go through with a few different cats. Like, who was the one person or crew or label or whatever that was trying to come at you that you felt like was an actual challenge to like actually like go back at it?
It would have to go back to the Mole Man beef. That was a big thing. The Mole Men at certain times were the biggest names in Chicago hip hop.
Was that when they suck a penis came in?
What's that?
What was the name of it?
Sucker Innis?
No, what are you talking about? My disc? Burning Bridges?
The disc.
Yeah.
Yeah, Burning Bridges. Yeah,
That's
that was
what.
it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I got caught up in the graph of it because what I saw was the X-ray with someone's shaft in their mouth.
Oh, right. That was our spoof on their little album cover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a classic, by the way. That was classic.
Thank you.
Great.
Definitely.
Which was a dope track. But hey, Matt, did you get my text?
No, I didn't get your text. I'm on the phone.
Look at your phone.
All right, so hey, we're gonna go to a couple of your tracks,
No doubt.
and then we got you in 15 minutes.
Cool, brother. Sounds good, man.
All right, you good at waiting?
I'll call you guys back.
All right,
Perfect.
for sure.
Yo,
Word.
Man, hang up.
you're listening to Hip Hop 101 Q4.org, 1680 AM. With your host Ecliptic Shadow with the homie.
Roy Hobbs and the other homie.
This is Al Tamper.
Yo, hey Matlock, you still on?
Yeah, brother.
All right, yo, I'm gonna name these tracks that we're gonna go into, man.
Go for it.
I want to see if you got anything to say about them because we're gonna mix them up with the new-ish and some of the old-ish.
Okay.
But this computer would load up faster.
Stupid purters.
I feel like this computer's drunk.
Yeah.
Then the
Drunk
computer is
enough.
drunk. You saw who
All
was
right,
here
so
earlier.
I'm gonna play So Bogus, G. I'm gonna play So Bogus.
Ooh, the oldies.
Yeah, I had to.
I feel that. That's one of my faves.
I had
We
actually I had some old Chicago DJs hit me up with some of their favorite Matlock tracks, and these are what they gave me. So
Wow.
So Bogus, Priceless, Good, The Book of
Okay.
Matthew, The Family Jewels, Madism,
Yep.
The Victory Lap,
Yeah.
Brand New, and Moonshine.
Ooh, let's do that. That's a good little playlist you got there, man.
Anything you want to say about these tracks before we go in them?
So Bogus, man. That's from Paradise Lost 2001. We don't even have a instrumental. I don't think an instrumental even exists to that. We did that on a 4-track, man, bouncing tracks, but it came out
That's the worst.
real
too.
smoking.
Killed it though.
Thank you, brother.
So we're gonna play those tracks, and then we're gonna come back with Matlock. You're listening to Hip Hop 101 Q4.org 1680 and the place to be. Tune in, zone out.
All right, y'all. Hit you in a minute.